Bull, was that the reason why the Insane Clown Posse changed it from championship to championship?
I don't know. I didn't know it was championship.
It was at the beginning. It was.
Oh, that's hilarious. I never knew that.
Yeah. First,
Yeah,
first,
you know, uh,
first few years of the existence, it was championship wrestling.
oh, well, I think at first the clowns kind of made a parody of it and kind of made fun of wrestling. They didn't take it real serious, and I think after a while they started. The clowns have always been fans of wrestling. I met them many years ago in Insane Championship Wrestling in Detroit when they were working as, I think, the Sewer Dwellers or something like that. And so they've always been big wrestling fans, and they've always liked wrestling and tried to become wrestlers. But I think that they tried a different perspective, tried to kind of make it a comedy thing instead of a serious thing. And then eventually, I think over the years, they decided to make it a serious show again. And there's a place for comedy, and there's not a place for comedy. And I think they've found the happy in between there somewhere now.
I kind of briefly touched on it, Bull, and I guess I want to expound on it just a little bit. You kind of developed your gimmick for Bull Payne in GWF, the Global Wrestling Federation. I remember back in those days, I was so excited about that promotion and seeing where it could go. The roster that GWF, Joe Peanut Pedicino, was creating, young Cactus Jack and guys like that were all coming through. Fabulous Freebirds were rolling through there. Just the names and list of these guys was just incredible. But it came and went so fast. Can you tell me about your time there, and I guess how you were able to develop Bull Payne in that federation?
Actually, that was one of my favorite times. It was one of my favorite places to work. Joe Pedicino and Bonnie Blackstone, they were both so good to me. And Bill Eadie is the one who booked me. He was the booker at the time, and he brought me in. And Bill Eadie is a great guy. He's looked after me. He brought me into a few different territories over the years. And I've always been so thankful that he's done it because it's hard to get in. It was hard to get in the territory, and if you didn't have it in, it didn't matter how good you were. You probably weren't going to get in. But Bill Eadie always saw something in me, and I appreciate it. And I can't thank him enough. And he's the one who brought me in, and then I eventually started getting over down at Global, and I had a real good feud with Sam Houston, and I was starting to feud with the Patriot, and somehow that got squashed. And then, it was a great place to work. I really enjoyed it. And the sad thing is, the place, we sold it out on a regular basis, and, the great Dallas Sportatorium, obviously, and I don't know why it never went any further than it did. I think the money backers ended up backing out or something to that point. I'm sure it was something political to that point because of the fact that, from what I saw, it was a successful promotion.
What I'm hearing is they were flying in too many people from Atlanta into the Dallas area instead of having people move down there, and that it got too costly.
Oh, I'm sure, no doubt. Look at that's what killed TNA, I think, and that's what killed, it's really hurt Ring of Honor and stuff. You have to watch your costs, and these guys don't understand that, and you start having these $100,000 airline tickets per show, and then you got your TV camera plus, and you got your TV cameras, and you got this, and your editing and all that. Yeah, it turns out to be a lot of money, and even though you don't think it's a lot of money, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars, and and investors want to see profit, and if they don't see profit, they're gonna pull the plug, and I think that's what's happened to a bunch of different places because the fact is they're trying to put out a great product, but they're not being cost efficient. And when you're not cost efficient, obviously nobody wants to lose money, especially over a long period of time. They have to see something turn out positive, and a lot of these places just have never gotten into positive slots.
Will is down in North Carolina, Bull, and I'm up here in the Indianapolis area, and I get the pleasure of Too Tough Tony and Madman Pondo, and friend of our show, the Necro Butcher, will roll through here every now and then. I guess, who are some of your, the guys that you've worked with in hardcore that are known as, extreme hardcore wrestlers? Who are your favorites to work with, and why?
You just named probably my top 3 favorites right there.
Oh, really?
I love every one of them guys. Yeah, I basically trained Too Tough Tony. I was married to him for about a year and a half, and I beat that poor kid to death. I beat him and beat him and beat him, and he kept coming back. Never complained one time. He was a star pupil. I'll tell you what. I love him like he's my own kid. Yeah, and he turned out to be such a talent. I mean, he's really very talented, and I mean, he's a bigger guy, and he does some stuff that I even shake my head and say, "How in the hell did you do that, Tony?" And you know, he's a humble kid, and he's very good. Madman Pondo, in my opinion, probably the best hardcore worker out there. He can do anything you ask him to do, and he'll take any sick bump that is ever asked of him. I've never seen him turn down anything. In fact, Tracy's mother says, hell, even concrete's afraid of Madman Pondo, you know, so, yeah. You know, I mean, Pondo's, he's one of a kind, and he's come a long way, and he's definitely paid his dues, and I wish him the best. I hope that someday, you know, he gets a good paycheck, or at least a good slot somewhere. You know, I mean, we're all running out of time. You know, your body's only got so many bumps in it, and I don't know how Pondo's still alive, but he is. He's the toughest son of a bitch I know. I've seen him.
He's
take
still
some
around.
bumps.
He and Crazy Mary Dobson are traveling all over Indiana.
Crazy Mary Dobson, yeah. She's a good kid. I love her to death. I call her my little sister all the time. She calls me and asks me opinions on things, which especially when she's in Japan, she'll ask me about this or about that or about this, which it really flatters me that she even cares about my opinion and what to do out there. And she actually listens to me, and she's really gotten herself over in Japan. I think she's going to be a breakout star in Japan in a very short time now. She's already kind of a star there now, but she's going to end up being one of the top American girls out there, and probably within the next year or two.
I totally agree with you. Do you are you a baseball fan by chance?
Actually, yes, I am. I'm a Brewers fan. Yes.
You're a Brewers fan. Did you get to talk very much baseball with Necro Butcher?
Necro Butcher is a walking almanac.
Yes, he is.
Necro Butcher knows more about baseball than the average person knows about anything. I mean, he's amazing. The man can keep stats in his head. He can tell you what somebody's batting average was 5 years ago. I mean, I don't understand how he does it, but he's got a photographic memory or whatever. But many times he's been dropped on his head. I can't believe he can remember that stuff. I mean, I can't remember what I had for dinner yesterday, and he can remember some of the batting average from 5 years ago. So he's an amazing guy. And me and Necro, I'll tell you a funny story about Necro. Me and Necro are sitting in the dressing room, and this is for IWA. He had just come in. I'd never met him before, and me and him were booked to work. And I can't remember what kind of match it was, but I'm sure it was a fan bringing the weapons or something silly like that, or fight all around the building or whatever. But he was putting a blade on his finger, and I'm not real fond of that, because usually when you put a blade on your finger, unless you know what you're doing, you cut the shit out of the guy you're working with. And I was working with him, and I didn't want to be running the ropes, and all of a sudden my back is bleeding, and you know, and I take a slam, and all of a sudden my arm is bleeding, you know, and stuff like that. So I told him, I said, look, buddy, if you could do me a favor, I'd appreciate it if you don't put that blade on your finger. There's only a couple guys in this business that I trust to have a blade on their finger, so could you put it somewhere else? And he goes, don't worry about it, man, I know what I'm doing. I said, okay. I said, I'm just telling you, if you cut me, there's going to be a problem out there. He goes, oh, don't worry about it. You know, he was kind of stiff with me about it, and I thought, okay. So we got out there, we locked up, and it wasn't 30 seconds, and he raked my eyes and almost cut my nose off my face. I mean, he sliced my nose wide open. I said, you motherfucker, and I beat that son of a bitch all the way around the building. I threw him through walls and everything, and finally at the very end, I hit him with Brother Payne across the head so hard that you could hear the aluminum bat clink like it hit a home run. At the end of the match, I hit that son of a bitch with that ball bat. How he didn't get carried out on the stretcher, it still amazes me. But after that match, we became best of buddies, and he's one of the few guys I can get in the ring with. Never talk a word about anything. We can call everything in the ring, including the finish, and have a outstanding match. He's a great guy.
Now, Necro Butcher also is a big fan of minor league baseball. I think even more so than major league. He's got an open invitation to come and join me for an Indianapolis Indians game. So, Bull, if you ever get down to this area too, maybe you can join us for an Indianapolis Indians baseball game.
Well, since I'm in Clearwater, Florida now, I don't see it happening. But it's always a possibility. Yeah, I was in Vegas for the last 2 years, and I just moved down to Clearwater, Florida, about not quite 3 months ago, and I love it down here. It's a great place to live. I would suggest anybody to move to Florida because I don't know, but I really like it down here. I hated Las Vegas. Las Vegas is a great place to visit, but I wouldn't tell anybody to move there. It's a great place to have a fun weekend or a fun week or whatever you want to do, but to live there is a nightmare. So
let's kick it back over to the Morning Star, Will Huckabee.
Will Huckabee, talk to me, brother.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, you're such a very vocal, you're so vocal on the independent scene as a vet and also as a mentor. If there's one piece of advice that you could give to an upcoming young indie wrestler, what would it be?
All right. There's a few things I'd like to talk about here, but the main thing I'd really like to talk about is keep your fucking mouth shut and your ears open. And because that is how you learn. You don't learn by talking. You don't learn by doing things. You learn by listening and doing what you're told. And that's how you learn. You don't, these people, these young kids that come in the business, they think, oh, I've watched wrestling for the last 15 or 18 years. I watch videos, I watch this, I watch that, and I know what I'm doing. No, you have no fucking clue. You don't have an idea of what you're doing, and for you to say that you do is an insult to me and everybody else that's put their time in on the road and in the ring, because you don't. And these young kids, they don't understand that. They all think it's all about the moves and how many moonsaults they can do and how many topes they can do and all this crazy stuff. And sure, it's cool. If you can do it, that's fantastic, but there's a time and a place for everything, and unless you understand where to put this stuff, I don't care what you're doing, people are going to shit on it, and they're going to go up and get some popcorn because they're bored with your stuff.
Yeah, and I'm guessing, you're very close to the local indie scene and stuff. Who are some of the guys that you've seen that you think have a lot of promise and some of the young upcoming talent that guys really need to watch out for and follow?
There's two guys that I really like right now. Chance Prophet, I think, is a great worker, very good kid, got a great outlook, he's got a great gimmick. As a heel, he's outstanding. I think if he spends a little bit more time in the gym and gets his body in a little bit better shape, I really think he could get a good slot somewhere. And the other one is Shane Mercer. Shane, to me, is the total package. He just needs a little bit of he needs to be groomed by somebody that's a real worker. I mean, and not work 8 times a month. He needs to work 20 times a month or 25 times a month so he can understand what he's doing. But the kid is so talented. He looks so good, and I think Shane Mercer or Chance Prophet, either one of them guys, whoever picks them up or does something with them, they're money in the bank, in my opinion.
So does that mean, that pretty soon we're going to start hearing about the Bull Pain Wrestling Academy?
No, brother. There's no money in having a school. I really wish I would love to have a school and train guys because I really get a lot of joy out of doing that because I like to teach them the right way. So just like when I was trained, I was taught the right way. So you go out there and you can have a great match and you can be safe and you don't have to worry about are you going to be hurt so you can't go to work tomorrow or are you going to be so injured that you can't have a normal life and things like that. These kids don't have respect for each other's bodies out there. I mean, I was taught never give somebody a bump that you wouldn't take yourself. And if your opponent gets hurt out there, it's your fault. And these kids, they don't have that attitude. They just throw them and let them fly, just like Taz used to do. Taz used to suplex guys on their head and he'd just laugh about it. He didn't care. He'd throw you any which way he could and he didn't give a rat's ass. If you got hurt, you got hurt. That's I guess you didn't know how to take the bump. Well, motherfucker, you dropped me on my head. How am I supposed to take the bump when you drive my head through my asshole, I mean, that's not taking a bump. That's being a prick, and that was Taz.
All right, and
we've got somebody in our chat room, Bull, who wants to hear about your story with Mickey Knuckles.
Which one? I got a ton of stories with Mickey Knuckles.
Well, tell us your favorite one, Bull. How's that?
Mickey Knuckles, she's a good girl. She, at one time, I really thought she was going to do something in the business. She really was an up-and-coming girl. I was with her from almost day one when she first started in the business, and she was really developed into something, and then she got that little break with TNA, and then she broke her leg really bad. She somehow messed something up with her femur bone or something, and she had to have surgery, and it laid her up for a long time, and then now she's married and got a kid, and basically that when you're married and you got a kid, that's pretty much the end of your career. I mean, you can work local and stuff and things like that, but you'll never work for the big companies because you got to be gone. You're on the road 200 or 250 days a year. So and then now there's only one big company left to work for, and Mickey Knuckles does not appear to be a diva in my opinion. But I mean, some other people might think she's a diva, but she's not a diva. But she's a very good worker. I will say that about her.
Well, we're starting to run out of time with you. I want to get your opinion. Do you watch the product today on television? I guess what's your thoughts on what you see with WWE and TNA and ROH, and what do you like, what do you not like?
I'm kind of like the old dinosaur that got passed by. Wrestling changes and evolves just like everything does. And we all believe in our era was the best. Just like the guys in the 50s think their era was the best, guys in the 70s, their era was the best, 90s. So do I like the product? It's entertaining. Do I agree with it? Probably not. But hey, they're making money and they're on TV and they're doing a great job and they're drawing people and people love the show, and I see the gimmicks all over Walmart and stuff. So they must be doing something right, or they wouldn't be able to sell them. And I watch WWE. Sure, I watch WWE. I wouldn't say on a regular basis, but I watch certain guys. I watch Claudio. I watch Tyler Black. I'm just telling you the names I know them by. They're different names now. Tyler Black is Seth Rollins, I think, and Claudio is I can't even remember Claudio's name. Yeah, Cesaro. And I watched, of course, CM Punk, and I knew Punk from the day, and I watch guys that I know and I help train and work with, and I see them evolve and I see them develop into mega superstars. And God bless them all. I hope they make $1 million. Good for them.
Before we wrap it up, I'm sorry, Bull, go ahead.
To say you either like the product or you dislike the product is, in my opinion, really silly because of the fact that everything, like I said, everything changes. Time changes everything. Nothing is the same. If you look back 10 years ago to, how school was ran or how guys worked on cars or how people dressed or whatever, everything changes. And you have to adjust to the change. If you don't adjust to the change, then, you're a dinosaur and you're left behind, and you can be miserable and you can be bitter about it. You can do whatever you want, but it's not going to change anything. It just makes you look like a dumbass, So do I like the product? On occasion, I think it's fantastic. And do I dislike the product? On occasion, I think the hotshot angles. And the only thing I can honestly say that I don't like about the product is that they have writers that have never stepped in the ring writing angles. If you need people like Terry Taylor and Dean Malenko and Arn Anderson and all these guys that Dusty Rhodes and all these guys that are brilliant minds in the business, they're the ones that need to be writing these angles, not these TV soap opera writers.
I'm still trying to get past guys working on cars. They still do that?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Everything has changed. Look at technology today. Good God, 20 years ago there wasn't cell phones. I used to have to send packages with a tape in it and 8x10, and send it to every little wrestling federation I could find to try to get work. Now you just send emails, and cell phones. Fuck. There's a couple times, I'm in Mexico and WWF called me and wanted me to start. Well, I didn't get the phone. I didn't get the phone message 6 weeks later until I got back from Mexico. So things have changed. And like I said, if you don't roll with the flow, then you get left behind, man.
Before we let you go, Bull, why don't you tell all your fans out there, what you got going on today? Or you got any conventions or anything you're doing, or how they can get in touch with you?
No, right now, if you want to talk to me, man, just just hit me up on Facebook. I love to talk to the fans because if it wasn't for the fans, I wouldn't have had a career. I thank every single person that ever spent the time to see me, bought a gimmick from me, or just booed me or hated me or spit on me or whatever, or enjoyed my work. You know, because of them, I got to live my dream, and I got nothing but great love and respect for all the fans. Because like I said, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have had a career. And God bless them all. You know, I love everybody out there because without them, I would have been nothing. You know.
Well, Payne, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's been a real pleasure and honor being able to talk business with you.
Not a problem, my friend, and you can call me anytime, all right?
Will do, man. Catch up with you soon.
All right, brother. Bye.